Welcome back. This is my first look at the Galaxy S4. This is the international version, the i9500. Okay, so the initial screen. This is stock ROM with all the bloatware inside it. So all these things that probably in an hour's time I'm going to flash a new ROM after I've rooted, of course. All the things that we're not going to use, Story Album, or the clocks and things that Samsung bloat their devices up with. I mean, every manufacturer bloats their devices up. So as we can see, initially 4.2.2, the skin of TouchWiz is different than 4.2.1 or than what we're used to. Let me just get rid of those widgets so I can add a couple more. Now, adding a widget with previous devices, especially the Note, takes a long time to go from widget. If I scroll across the screen, it pauses and is hesitant. This one, not at all. Clearly the A15 architecture of the chip is pretty good. Update. Oh, there's an update. I don't think I want that, as I'll be rooting and flashing a custom ROM in about an hour's time. Right. So, first impressions, really nice device, very, very attractive screen. It's actually reasonably big. I was expecting it to be significantly smaller than my Note, but it doesn't feel a lot smaller at all. So what I'm going to do is a startup test against my Note, just to give you an idea of how fast this device actually is, and it is blazingly fast. I was thinking I may even go back to my Note and give the S4 to my wife, but there's no way I'm going to be doing that. Alright, so of course the S4 is going to be faster at this. So the S4 starts the flash logo animation and finishes before the Note has started. And there we go, the Note started that. And the Note finishes the animation screen and the S4's finished. It's booted. It just depends on how long the Note's actually going to take. Now, it's important to note that the Galaxy Note has got a custom ROM on there running 4.2.1 Jelly Bean, and it is all the bloatware removed, whereas the S4 is a stock ROM 4.2.2 and it has all the bloatware. So even with the bloatware removed, will be significantly faster again. Okay, so those are the devices side by side. Now, you can see the screen height is pretty similar. There's like a couple of mils different between the two, and the only significant difference is the width. The Note is a little bit wider, and other than that, there's not a lot of difference between the screen sizes. Obviously, 1080p versus slightly higher than 720p in the Note. And here we go, side by side. We're actually going to see the heights. So it's not a lot of difference in the height there. The screen is the same size, essentially, for the height, but the Note's actual physical dimensions are a lot bigger. Okay, now I've boosted both screen brightnesses to full, and I've put them both on dynamic. I'm going to just give it a bit of a contrast between the two. Pinks are slightly more vivid, and blues and purples are slightly more vivid in the S4. I mean, this is running 1080p. And if we go back to the bottom left, we look at the phone icons, and we can see that it's just a slightly clearer on the S4. Now that's a given because we're looking at 800 versus 1080p. Okay. Now the last thing I'm going to do is a quadrant standard test. Now I know benchmarks aren't the greatest govern of how good a phone is, but we're just going to see for this purpose of actually how fast the S4 is compared to the Note. Now the Note is 2 years old, and it's a given that it's going to be faster. It's obvious, but I want to see actually how good it is over the Note. Just so if you've got the Note in your hand, like most of my viewers do, then you'll be able to see if you actually want to purchase the S4. Because waiting for the Note 3 will be about 5 months away. It's a little bit A little bit of a long time to wait, really. Now the GPU is actually reasonably similar, 52 frames per second and an average of 69 frames per second. It's not a lot higher, but we can see the Samsung S4 Octavision whizzed through the test and is significantly better than the HTC One. Okay, so let me just fast forward this because it's going to take a long time. Right, so the tests are in. We have just under 12,500 on the S4, and with the Note we have just over 3,000. Right, so a significant difference, I mean, as we were going to expect. So the intention of this video was to help you make a decision if you were going to upgrade your Note and go to the S4. For me, I'm happy with it to purchase. I'm happy with my decision. I had to purchase this outright. There was no plan involved. So it's a bit of money to outlay on a product like this. Now, to hold these devices in the hand, the S4 is unbelievably light. It does feel like it's a toy phone. It doesn't feel like it's real. In fact, if you took your battery out of your Note, that would be the weight and feel of your Galaxy S4 in your hand. The S4 feels very light. It fits in the hand perfectly. There's no solid square edge bezel on the side, so it's actually is really comfortable to hold. It actually feels slightly more comfortable than the Note does. I mean, the size dimensions aside, obviously the S4 is a lot smaller, but the actual bezel and the size and the build of the S4 is very comfortable. Now, the main thing I was apprehensive about was the size of the screen, and the Note isn't a lot bigger than the S4. The size of the screen takes up almost the whole of the S4. Anyway, so I hope that helps, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.